What the hell, Riverdale? What the hell, Riverdale? Doobie-doo-bad-doo, where the hell you been? Hi, I'm Andre, I'm a black nerd, and it is time to talk about some Riverdale. I know some of y'all are like, Andre, where have those Riverdale recaps been? I've been traveling a lot. I haven't been home at Wednesday, 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central. Even the executive producer of Riverdale tweeted me and says he loves my videos. So I gotta do recaps now. All right, let's get into it. We got a lot to cover, okay? Because the last time I talked to you about Riverdale, Moose and Midge got shot, and we were wondering if they're gonna be alive or not, and they are. They're fine. I mean, as fine as you can be getting shot and having to be in the hospital and everything, but not dead, I guess I should say. Moose and Midge were able to give Archie a little bit more information about the person that shot them, and it became very clear that it was the same guy, the Black Hood. He attacked again. Midge said something about his eyes, like it didn't seem like they were even green, that they were almost kind of blank. And the Black Hood made it official when he sends a letter to Alice Cooper saying that, yeah, it's totally him that's doing all this stuff. He even leaves Fred's wallet and Miss Grundy's glasses. And the reason why he's doing it, and I said it in my last episode recap theory, he's doing it because he's a vigilante that wants to take out all the sins of Riverdale. Kevin Keller was in the woods at the time that it happened and heard the shot. Why was Kevin in the woods? Well, you know, Kevin was gonna meet up with some people in the woods and kind of have a little bit of a male-on-male fun time. Kevin has made it clear that if you are gay in Riverdale, it is very, very tough to find some significant others. And this actually led to a very interesting story about Kevin, because on one hand, he was doing something that was very scary and dangerous and his friends were worried about him. But when Betty started talking to Kevin about what he was doing and it started to come off a little bit judgmental, Kevin kind of told her to slow her roll. He's like, you guys can do whatever you want with your heterosexual relationships. He's even said that when Betty goes full dark Betty, gets a little BDSM, that's apparently fine. But with him, it's not the same case. So he was telling Betty that you can't have that kind of judgment on him and what he's doing when he can't live the same lifestyle that she lives. And I thought that was a very nice scene. I mean, for a lot of the series, Kevin has kind of been like gay best friend and kind of being very quippy and jokey about a lot of his dialogue. So it was kind of nice to see him have this emotional moment. And Kevin and Sheriff Keller have a little moment too, where Sheriff Keller's like, I don't know everything about you and what you're going through. I know we don't talk about this as much, but I care about you as my son and I don't want anything to happen to you. And I thought it was really, really cool. And then there's a moment where Kevin meets up with a person and the guy was kind of scary and creepy. He's like, get in the car, get in the car. And then Kevin had this dream of him getting stabbed once he got in the car. And so he's like, I ain't doing that. And he walked away. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Do not kill Kevin. I love Kevin. He's great. Unless he's a Black Hood, then, you know, then it's all bets are off. Jughead's going to a new school. He's been transferred to the Southside High, where, of course, he meets the young serpents, all the kids of the Southside Serpents, who are also serpents. We meet Sweet Pea, who, okay, I feel like Sweet Pea is a reference to a character in Archie comics, but I could not think for the life of me who that is. It sounds like a character that was in Little Archie, but I couldn't place it. I couldn't remember it from my memory. I couldn't research and find it. Maybe I'm just thinking of Sweet Pea from Popeye. Maybe that's what it is. However, Sweet Pea's friend, who's also a serpent, is named Fogarty, so I'm going to assume that's Fangs Fogarty, who I talked about before in a previous video. And we also meet Toni Topaz. She's a photographer. She's part of the Serpents. She's befriending Jug because she knows that Jug is out here on his own trying to be himself because he's been up in that north side too long. And she's trying to tell him, hey, dude, you need to hang out with the Serpents, or you need to hang out with somebody, because if you're a lone wolf around here, then you are just fresh meat to get chopped up. Because not only do you have the Serpents, but you also have this other gang called the Ghoulies. You try to take this show seriously sometimes, but the Ghoulies are actually a reference. So there used to be an Archie cartoon show back in the day, and they had a spin-off series called Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, of course. And then there was a spin-off of Sabrina called the Groovy Ghoulies, and they're like these young monsters. It was like a Dracula monster and a Frankenstein monster, you know, the usual, better than the Universal Dark Universe. But they were like a band. They used to even have a little song, everybody shout, come on now, sing out, it's time for the Ghoulies, get together. So I'm gonna assume that that is where that reference of calling the gang the Ghoulies came from. We also find out that the Ghoulies are the suppliers of the Jingle Jangle, so Jughead decides he wants to start up the Southside newspaper again, and the teacher told him, just don't talk about the Jingle Jangle. And of course, Jughead's like, I'm gonna talk about the Jingle Jangle. And the Ghoulies found him one night and beat the crap out of him. Jughead's gonna get beat a lot in these next couple episodes. Plus, the Southside didn't really appreciate Jughead making a big deal about them having the drugs, because they're like, man, half the drugs that we have get sold to the North Side. But where's that story? Where's that article? They basically are complaining that the North Side gets to do all this wrong stuff and no one ever bats an eye to it. Yet every time the South Side does something even remotely wrong, then it's a big news story. The South Side is terrible, and they're kind of getting sick of it. You can feel the blood boiling a little bit, a little bubbling underneath. That pink slime from Ghostbusters 2 is starting to bubble up from underground, and they get mad, and eventually that's going to turn into an all-out civil war in Riverdale. Which I believe there are some people in Riverdale that want that to happen. I'm looking at you, Hiram. Also, Toni Topaz is fine, and Jughead knows that she's fine, and he's still with Betty. But good luck. If you're a Bughead fan, you're gonna have some trouble going into the next few weeks of Riverdale. Meanwhile, Veronica is still trying to deal with her dad being back home, so she thinks it's a great idea to bring all her friends over so they can possibly be around Hiram and see how her friends and him interact with each other. Not a good idea, but Hiram's pretty cool and he hears about their conversations about the Black Hood and everything. He even drops some advice to them of like, sometimes you gotta take matters into your own hands. You can't rely on the police for everything. Hiram asks Archie to come over another night for dinner. Hermione even goes up to Veronica, is like, that is not a good idea. You don't want Hiram and Archie together. That's probably not gonna work in your favor. And then there's this really intense moment where Hiram and Hermione are together and Hiram's like, you know, the thing about this place is, while he's like helping her dress, you can hear a lot of things. The wall's very thin, including where you were having that conversation with Veronica. And he was basically like, Veronica can hate you and like me, and Veronica can hate both of us. But if Veronica hates me and likes you, we got a problem. And I was like, dang. He didn't say it in those words exactly, but that's pretty much what he said. Do not turn my daughter against me on your behalf. Not a good thing to do with Hiram Lodge. That was a little scary because for the most part, Hiram and Hermione have been kind of like, we're the dynamic duo of deception. We're kind of working together. But that was the one moment where Hiram was like, remember who's on top though, okay? Don't test me. But I did love that scene where Hiram took Archie into the private study and didn't bring Veronica. And Hermione basically was like half drunk, like, look at that room over there. Everybody gets to go into that room with Hiram except for Daddy's little girl. And that's where Hiram really digs deep into Archie and is like, you gotta fight fear with fear, fight terror with terror. This Black Hood is out there being a menace. You gotta do something about it. Stand your own ground. And that's where Archie decides to buy a gun, get some guns from Dilton, get his friends together. They make this video with hoods on. Some of them don't wear shirts for some reason. Don't know why that's the case, but whenever Riverdale decides that people don't need to wear shirts, they do it. And they make a video about them being the Red Circle, this vigilante group that's going to take down the Black Hood. Archie does not wear a mask, but everyone else does. The Red Circle, by the way, another reference, that's a publishing company, I believe, that used to publish the like superhero and supernatural side of comics in the Archie line. So there wasn't Archie characters. Wikipedia, it makes sense better when you can read it. But you get what I'm saying. It's a reference. It's a reference. Boogie woogie woogie. Sheriff Keller, of course, is like, you gotta shut this Red Circle down. Mr. Weatherby even sticks up for Archie and says, no, the Red Circle is a volunteer organization. It's a neighborhood watch. But when this video gets made and it's getting circulated all over the place, that's when it becomes a problem. Mr. Weatherby's like, shut it down. Sheriff Keller's like, shut it down. Everyone's like, shut it down. Even Veronica's like, shut it down. But then once Veronica finds out that Hiram was kind of the reason why he started in the first place because of how impressionable Archie is, then she's like, bring it up. She even makes Red Circle t-shirts. But the Red Circle does some good. They actually helped Ethel. She was getting followed by some car and they were able to stop it. We gotta talk about that Black Hood sending out more letters. He sent that first one out to Alice. Then he sends one to Betty Cooper with this encrypted message that they have to try to crack. It's a code they have to crack to figure out what the next target is. And Betty tells everybody about the code. What she doesn't tell is that there was also another letter in the same package directed to her where the Black Hood basically says, all this stuff I'm doing, Betty, it's for you. I'm doing it for you because I heard your speech at the end of season 1 where you were saying that there was so much bad going on in Riverdale that we are all acting like does not exist. And now that inspired the Black Hood to go out and kill people or to attempt to kill people to clean out Riverdale. Good job, Betty. Good speech. Very empowering. Archie is just going full on deep dark. He's buying more guns. He's talking more about the Red Circle. He even goes and buys guns with a fake ID that doesn't help him make, which I appreciate that they named him Wilbur Wilkins on the fake ID. That is another reference. So in addition to the Archie comics, there used to be this other comic called Wilbur Wilkin, and then eventually that turned into Bingo Wilkin, which was known as That Wilkins Boy. And sometimes if you buy those Archie digests, they'll actually have That Wilkins Boy comics in the middle of them. These like random, subtle, deep dive references that this show is making is insane. Jingle Jangle is a song that the Archie sang, and now it's a drug. Man, the people are doing their homework on this show. Archie even goes down to the south side, starts painting red circles everywhere, and when the Serpents walk up to him and is like, hey, what are you doing, man? Archie just straight up goes gangster. He's like, what? What? He even pulls a gun out on him. I'm like, dang, Archie, this is not my Archie. Of course, Sheriff Killer gets his information, checks Archie's locker to look for the gun, but Archie was smart. He put it in a plastic bag, hid it in a toilet. Unfortunately, what he forgot was in his locker was the black hood that Reggie wore in an earlier episode as a prank to try to scare Archie, but he didn't write out Reggie because that's how Archie is, and Reggie appreciated that because he and the other football players were going to not do the red circle thing anymore because Mr. Weatherby was like, if you continue this red circle, we shutting down all the school programs. But now Reggie's like, bro, you looked out for me, bro. You could have ratted me out, bro. Reggie got your back. Again. Thank you. Asian Dude Bro Reggie 2.0. But you know, you don't pull a gun out on the Southside Serpents and not think there will be some kind of retaliation. So the Serpents show up at Archie's house and is like, come outside. Like it was like freaking House Party when Full Force showed up at Kid at Play's party. Okay, that is a dated reference. Now I'm deep diving. So Veronica's like, you gotta sell this like men. So go out in the middle of the rain and just have a big old fist fight. And it's just like this slow-mo. And Sweet Pea's just like, ew. Dilton even tries to fight, but of course, foolish Dilton. He like gets a knife stuck in his leg. And I think it was his own knife. So Veronica's like, I had enough of this. So she takes Archie's gun that he had earlier and she shoots it up in the air and everyone scatter, rat-tat-tat and all the cats scatter. And then Veronica's like, look, Archie, you gotta get rid of this gun. So he throws it out into the river and that's the last we'll ever see of that weapon. Betty, Jughead, Kevin, and Toni are working together to try to crack this code. Toni and Betty not really getting along too much. She making cracks about Betty's ponytail, and then she, of course, goes into the whole, like, Northsiders always picking on the Southsiders, talking smack about us. Kevin just like, I gotta go. I was like, I feel you, bro. But then Jughead makes a reference to Nancy Drew, and then Betty was like, oh, that's it. Betty was told by the Black Hood that he wrote this code specifically for her. So she figures out it's from like a Nancy Drew code book, and she figures out the code, cracks it. Turns out the next hit is going to happen at this town hall meeting that the mayor has set up, an emergency town hall meeting to talk about everything that's going on in Riverdale. Particularly because Alice keeps printing everything that's going on in Riverdale in the paper. Of course, Betty and the gang get there on time, save everybody, everyone's safe. But my question is, who was the hit gonna be on at the town hall? Hiram Lodge, because he was there. Was it gonna be Alice Cooper, because she keeps making waves? Maybe it was going to be the mayor. That would be pretty much making a statement if the mayor's talking on stage and then all of a sudden, bam. Don't take out Robin Givens. I need Robin Givens. But everything's cool. Archie's not having guns in his hands anymore. The Southsiders have gone back to their turf. Everyone's happy. Betty saved the day. Betty's phone rings. She picks it up and it's the Black Hood. Hello, Betty. This is the Black Hood speaking. I like how proper he was. Like, he could have just been like, hello, Betty, I'm the Black Hood. But he was all like, hello, Betty, this is the Black Hood speaking. May I speak with Betty Cooper, please? Hi, nice to meet you, Black Hood. Betty Cooper, nice to talk to you. I'm the one that's trying to kill everybody and kill Miss Grundy, and I just want to let you know that I'm doing this all for you. So do you want like a gift basket or anything? Now we're getting into episode 5. Betty asks the Black Hood what does he want, and the Black Hood is like, I want you to separate yourself from all of your friends. They don't deserve you. You are so pure and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, all right, Black Hood. It's getting a little weird now. You're getting a little white knighty here. So first the Black Hood wants to bring down Betty's mom, so he tells Betty that if she wants to keep everybody she knows alive, then she needs to print this article from back in the day that showed that Betty's mom, Alice, got arrested as a teenager, and it's very clear in the article that she was a Southside Serpent. This was something that was kind of hinted at and talked about in season 1 between Alice Cooper and Skeet Forsyth, Jughead's dad. They clearly had a history together. It was clearly talked about her being a serpent, and now it even shows that she even got in trouble as a serpent. Kind of hard to be making all these articles talking about boo the Southside Serpents when you were one yourself. And I love that the Lodges had this party and they're like, oh, Alice Cooper ain't gonna show up at this party because of that article that came out. And Alice Cooper did not only just show up at this party, but oh my good Lord, she slow walks in. Riverdale, you tripping? tricked me because I was like, who is this? Because it was this shot of the woman's legs and then this tight, short dress thing and like this flowing thing in the back. I don't know women clothes, but I'm just saying it was really hot. And then it just like stops at the boobs. It's just like open cut, close up, and I'm like, who is it? They don't show the face, and then they cut, and it's Betty's mom, and I was like, damn. I mean, you know, Betty's mom been wearing them sweaters and being all uptight writing these papers, but then, man, when she wanted to show off on this show, holy, you know, there have been sexy shower scenes on this show. There have been shirtless dudes. There have been women stripping off clothes. But I'm sorry, Alice Cooper walking into that party is the win. That is the win of the season. You cannot make anything sexier than that. Damn! So Black Hood is like phase 2 Betty. Now you gotta get rid of Veronica. She's part of them lodges. She can't be trusted. She's got a horrible past. You cannot be besties with her. So when they have this party with Veronica's friend Nick St Clair, which I'm gonna get into him in a second. Whoa boy. Whoo! New characters cause trouble. They all been taking jingle jangle. Betty didn't touch it, and then she goes off on Veronica saying that she's just being a friend of them because of her circumstances. If she was still living the life that she used to live, they would not be pals. Veronica's like, get out. And Betty's crying. She's hurting because she's hurting all her friends. She thinks she's done, and Black Hood's like, no. We gotta get rid of that boyfriend, Jughead. He's not deserving of your love. He's a Southside Serpent. And I'm like, this is getting interesting. Like, why is the Black Hood so concerned about Betty's friends and who she's with? And why she need to cut ties with all of them. She can't do it herself, so she asked Archie to do it. She's been telling Archie about everything that's going on, even though the Black Hood said, don't be telling anybody about these phone calls or else your family gonna get it. And while Betty and the Black Hood are talking, he don't kill nobody, he don't hurt nobody, so she thinks she's doing a good thing, but she has to get rid of all her friends in the process. Archie is kind enough to say, I'll go over and talk to Jughead and handle that part for you. Of course, when he goes over to see Jughead, Jughead's hanging out with the Serpents because Jughead is trying to figure out how to initiate himself into the Serpents. Toni and other people from the Serpents said that his dad was the reason why the South Side was kind of chill towards the North Side because he was able to keep the peace. Now that his dad is in jail, the Serpents are like, let's just go crazy. They want to put pipe bombs in buildings and all this kind of crazy stuff. So Jughead feels like if he can become a Serpent and kind of take his father's role, maybe he can help squash all the beef between the North Side and the South Side. So the first thing about initiation is that everyone wakes you up with giant snake masks for some reason, but they had their shirts on. I guess the Serpents ain't got the memo that you ain't supposed to have no shirts on when you wear a mask in Riverdale. And they're like, you have to take care of the Beast. The Beast being a dog. And what dog? Hot Dog is in this show. Oh, it's so cute. Then he's gotta learn some tests. They gotta yell out some rules and stuff like that. And then you gotta put his hand in and grab a knife where there's a snake and the snake bites him. But then the last part of the initiation, woo, man, he has to walk out in the rain and once again, get beat up. Poor Jughead. He's walking down the line and the Serpents are just all around him and every single one of them. Because it's like, you will die for a serpent, right? Even Sweet Pea got some brass knuckles and just is like, and Jughead gets up in that little sleeveless, the little tighty white shirt, and got blood on it, and his mouth's all hard there, and his hat's all tilted, and he's like, you got any more? What else you got? And then right before you think Sweet Pea's about to do another punch, he goes, welcome to the Serpents. Toni Topaz is proud of him too, he even calls him Juggy at one point. Ooh, but she warns Jughead, hey man, you just need to realize you can't do this. If you get into the Serpents, they gonna probably have you do some stuff that you're not gonna be comfortable with. So just know what you're getting into. Then by the end of it, she's all proud of him for going through the initiation. And then, you know, she shows her proudness. She know that Betty ain't around no more. So she leans in. Like I said, if you a Bughead fan, it's not a good time right now. She smooches that Jughead. Sugar. Ah, honey. Toni, if I had no loot. Wow, we are dating ourselves today. Like I said, the lodges are having this open house because they're trying to create this whole Soho Riverdale project or something like that. SoCal Riverdale. You know, they're trying to gentrify the South Side or whatever. And they invite all these people because they're trying to get investors. But one of the investors that he's trying to get is his family called the St Clairs, including their son, Nick St Clair, who's a friend of Veronica. Back when Veronica was a bad girl, he was one of her bad boy friends, but not boyfriends. They always like to tease and flirt with each other, but they never did anything. but you could tell Nick wanted to. So Nick first hangs out with Archie and Veronica, which was weird because Nick kept calling Veronica sexy in front of Archie, even though he knew that they were a couple, and then he tries to give them cocaine or something. First off, Archie is mean mugging Nick St. Clair the entire time in this scene. Like the whole time he's sitting in this chair just like, and then when Nick pulled out that drug to get to Archie, he was like, I ain't dealing with you. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where that's been. Later on, Nick St. Clair has his party, invites all of Ronnie's friends over. This is where Betty and Veronica have their like true origin comics Betty and Veronica mad at each other moment. But before that, everyone's getting partied up. Nick St. Clair brings out the jingle jangle. Everybody takes it instead of Betty. And then everyone just gets into this whole daze and everything. And Josie and Reggie make out. Did anyone not see that? And I've heard that in the Riverdale tie-in comics, apparently they're also setting up some whole Josie Reggie romance. Rogie Jezzy. Everybody leaves except for Nick and Veronica, and they're talking. He's just like, oh, Veronica, I'm glad we've been friends, and you're so cool, and you're so nice, and you're so sexy, and I'm gonna lean closer to you, and I'm gonna touch your leg, and I'm gonna lean even closer to you, and I'm gonna try to kiss you, even though I know you got a boyfriend. And Veronica was like, no! We ain't doing that. And he's like, well, you want this business right now. Your dad's trying to get money from my family, so I think you need to show me a good time. And I'm like, damn. Really, Riverdale? You want to do this right now? Veronica slaps him, gets out of the situation. Then he comes up later, is like, I'm sorry about that. You know, I've been in and out of rehab. I apologize. That was wrong of me, Veronica. She's like, all right, Nick St. Clair, you all cool. And then I swear, not even 5 minutes after he gives this apology, Cheryl Blossom walks up, says, let's have a drink together. And he just is like, roofie time. And I'm like, what? Seriously? So yes, Nick St. Clair roofies Cheryl Blossom, and they're dancing at the party, and of course she starts getting a little tipsy, and he's all like, oh, let me take you to the room. And I'm like, oh, shoot. But Veronica and Josie notice what's going on, and oh my gosh. Veronica, Josie, Valerie, Melody, they run up, go to that hotel room. Cheryl's on the bed. Nick St. Clair's about to take the clothes off. They bust in that room. They grab him, push him back, push him down to the ground. And I don't know a better way to say this. They beat the shit out of him. It's like, bam, bam, kick, kick. I was like, man, is he also initiating for the Serpents? Because they are kicking his ass. They beat him so hard. I was waiting for the Wonder Woman theme to start playing. They made a Gal Gadot reference, so it could have happened. Dang, I mean, he got beat up. I mean, he deserved it. Damn, they beat him up hard. Oh, I don't know if he still has a face. So the gang all comes together. They even call Betty up to check in. Cheryl's all mad. She's like, I will press charges. And I'm just like, dude, you should not do this to anybody. You should not roofie anybody. But if there's one person you should definitely not try to do that to, it's Cheryl Blossom. You dead. But Blossoms may not get to him in time because Betty gets a phone call from the Black Hood. Black Hood's like, hey, Betty, I told you not to tell anybody about my phone calls. I saw that you told Archie about my phone calls. That went against the rules, so now you got to give me a name. Give me somebody that you feel it needs to go away. This is getting a little shop of horrors right now. He's like, who is it? Give me a name. Give me a name. If you don't give me a name, I'm going to kill your sister. I'm going to kill your mother. I'm going to kill your father. I'm going to kill anything you put your eyeballs on. And she's like, Nick St. Clair. I was like, dun, dun, dun. Oh, Dark Betty, ram the lamb. Oh, Dark Betty, ram the lamb. Dark Betty is back, ram the lamb. What the hell, Riverdale? Woo! Who do I think is the Black Hood? Let's round up our suspects. Sheriff Keller. Kind of a long shot, but it is a possibility. He's always got to work within the realms of the law. So who better to become a vigilante to work outside the rules of justice than the person who always has to work inside the rules of justice? So that's a possible Black Hood. I'm just saying. It could be a Southside Serpent. I was thinking it was like that main guy. I forget his name, but there's like an adult guy that's been working with Jughead. I don't think that's the case. I think the Serpents are a red herring, but I think they are definitely getting riled up with the fact that the Southside constantly gets blamed for things. I also don't know if the lodges are necessarily involved, but I definitely feel like they are taking advantage of it. The lodges' motive is pretty clear. They want that land. They are trying so hard to make everything go go wrong in Riverdale so that people will either drop their property value or get out so that they can take all that land and turn that SoCal Riverdale project into Lodgedale to just taking over the whole place. That's why I think they are concerned about Fred, because they know that Fred is goody good guy and he's not going to go along with things. And I think they're concerned about Alice because while they do want these things to happen, they don't want people to know about it. So if Alice keeps putting it in the papers, that's going to make it where it could possibly become a bigger public thing. And if you're a guy that just got out of jail, you probably don't want people hanging around in your neighborhood that you just got in, and there also just happens to be a killer that shows up at the same time. So how do you scare everybody without scaring everybody? This is also a long shot, but we know that Cheryl's dad hung himself, but did he die? Did we ever see the body? So possibly still out there. But now I'm gonna get to some suspects that I think could really be legit. First off, Chick Cooper. This is a character they've mentioned before. It's Betty and Polly's older brother. Because after all, Betty also with the Black Hood had to go through this weird process, her own initiation, where she went to this house, this abandoned house, and they had a hood there, and the Black Hood made her put it on and look in the mirror, and he's all like, see, we're one and the same. And then when she was all like, get Nick St. Clair, he was like, see, I told you we're one and the same. Seems like that would be a family member that could say something like that. But if this person knew that Betty was hanging out with Archie and telling Archie all this information, could that person be even closer? Like, say, Hal Cooper, her father? That's a possibility. He was milquetoast all first season. Could that toast get burnt? Because we saw what lengths he went to protect Polly. Could he be doing even more lengths to protect Betty? But when you start getting into things like, Betty, I don't like the type of people you're hanging out with. I don't like your friends. I need you to disconnect from all of them. That sounds like some Alice Cooper stuff right there. I can't for the life of me believe that Alice Cooper is the Black Hood, but that just seems like a very weird thing for the Black Hood to do, and that is very much in line with what Alice Cooper likes to do, is to tell Betty who she cannot be around. Or could Alice Cooper be using this opportunity to disguise herself as a Black Hood, not the actual Black Hood, but pretending to be one to Betty to try to get her to stop hanging out with the people that she's hanging out with? It's just a very, very weird request. Also, Pops, I'm sorry. Just because you're an old black man running a restaurant don't mean I don't got my eye on you, Pops. It could be Pops. Pops can make himself white to be the Black Hood. The perfect crime, the perfect cover-up. I don't trust you, Pops. But I like this whole Black Hood connected to Betty thing. I think that was a cool idea. I'm really interested to see how it turns out. Good job, Riverdale. See you next week. Hopefully I will be on time. I don't know, man. YouTube is hard. Thank you so much for watching. If you have made it all the way to the end of this episode, bless your heart. I love you. And I want to tell you a little secret. I bought some headphones recently that connected my TV that allows me to watch TV, but you can't hear the sound because it's coming through the headphones. So maybe in the future, if someone decides to watch a certain television show online and then have the sound going through the ears so that you can't hear it, so I don't get any problems with copyright, that could be a thing that could happen in the future. Make sure you follow me on social media just in case something like that were to happen. Cannot confirm or deny. If you are new here, please subscribe to this channel. I talk about Riverdale as well as many other nerdy and pop culture, geek culture things. If you like that sort of thing, this is the place for you to be. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000. Chain chomp yomp.